People podcast of the DMV. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about we and God we trust. Sir Rod and Lady Z. PTP. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Every Monday night. Every Wednesday night. Every Friday night. Every Monday night. Every Wednesday night. Every Friday night. Every Monday night. Every Wednesday night. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Positive thinking people. Every Monday night. Every Wednesday night. Every Friday night. Every Monday night. Every Wednesday night. Every Friday night. Every Monday night. Give me one. Every Friday night. Everybody, it's people to people with Rodney Grimes. Don't mind me. I'm trying to tell you, I got Lady Z on the other side over there. Y'all know what happened when we doing this. We practiced before we even got started, and I'm over here throwing keys and signs and everything. She over there looking at me like, what you talking about? But y'all know how we do. Let me get things going. Before I introduce my guest, I just get everything set up and do what we do. And I get a kick out of every time I get excited about where I am and how I be going about it. And we just stay focused because that's what it's all about. People to people, power to power, positive thinking people. What we say, it's PTP. So, as we move forward, I'm going to introduce my guest. It is Miss Greeneyez in the house, AMBRE Tomlinson.
Yes.
I have to say names very, very. I do them, slowly. Tomlinson.
Yes.
But Greeneyez. How do you get the name Greeneyez?
My eyes are green.
Okay.
So
no contacts.
No contacts.
Oh, okay. I guess.
My eyes are green. That name was a gift from my first program director, Cash Money, DJ Cash Money, rest in peace.
Okay.
He gave me that name.
All right. So now, I'm gonna call you Amber if you don't mind.
That's fine, sure.
Later on, after I try to convince you to get back in the music business and talk to I'm gonna call you Greeneyez then. Okay. But so pretty much, how did you get into the music business? Tell me a little bit about.
So growing up, I was always two things. I was always very musically inclined, and I was always a strong writer. So I went off to Hampton University School of Print Journalism, got my degree in print journalism with a minor emphasis in English, but when I graduated, I did not have a job as of yet. And my friend was just getting into DJing, so he asked me if I would manage him. He said, you have all this new college experience, will you be my manager? I said, sure, no problem. He said, I can't really talk to people while I'm DJing, so if you could do that for me. So I started doing that, and then we ended up locking down all the bartender competitions for all the TGI Fridays in Northern Virginia. That was really cool. They really get into their bartender competitions, like lots of music. It turns into a party scene. Mostly, I was the hype man on the mic while he was doing his thing on the ones and twos. We ended up going to Fridays that told us, well, you know, we don't need you tonight because we have our own hype man. I said, you have your own hype man? Like, it's a Fridays. But the gentleman who worked there also worked for a radio station. So we ended up chopping it up, and I said, is your program director looking for any new talent? Because it's something that would interest me. And then I roped my friend into it, the DJ. I said, hey, you could be the DJ. I'll be the talent. We could do a show. We went in for a voice check. They liked us, and we ended up having a radio show 1 year with my friend, and then 3 years by myself. So I ended up doing, through that, I was with the Beat 1650. We did Food and Wine Festival, we did Bike Week in Miami, we did the Titan Awards, all those different award shows, and through there I ended up branching out, meeting a lot of the independent artists in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and beyond, and started doing consultant work, PR work. I've worked in an A&R capability, did a little bit of tour management, things of that nature, and just went from there, really. Kind of snowballed.
Okay. So, and you're originally from?
I'm originally from Long Island, New York.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because actually, the music business was doing booming back in, a little while up in New York. Like, everybody that wanted to get into the music business, they either went to Miami or they went to New York. And I think they was kind of like in Houston, getting like in those areas. Not so much California. You go, you want to be an actor.
Yeah, yeah.
But the music wise, it was down on this end, and then even as far as at Atlanta, the music was moving around. So being a woman in the business, was it really, really hard for you?
There are times when I've been little sistered and covered by a group of, guys that won't let anything bad happen to me. There have been times when people have been inappropriate and tried. And then there have been times when, as a woman, you may have the best idea in the room, but if it's a room full of gentlemen, they don't want to hear what you have to say. So I've really kind of gone through all three. But especially not being heard, I've learned to put all my meekness and timidness from the side and be very sure of myself and very sure of my craft and my talents, and that really took me in positive directions. So, yeah.
As you can probably see some of the things on the wall, and I have a company called Photo Time Production, which back some years ago I was in the music business pretty heavy. Had several artists that was under my belt. We were moving around, so the music business was a little shady here and there, And I saw some of the things that the women went through because my daughter happened to have been one of the artists. And when right now, my thing is that it's changed, the way that we do business now.
Yes.
And so that's what I'm really interested in now, how we go about now making it so that it's safe, a safe environment. Now, you say you write. So you write music?
So I'm more so a journalist and a creative writer. I have written song lyrics and things of that nature. I'm a really strong poet. I have a great deal of poetry and short stories, creative writing, but I also have a really extensive journalism portfolio.
Okay.
So I've written for a lot of the major publications in this area and beyond. Interviewed probably every, major independent artist in the DMV, or worked with them in some capacity. So yeah, that's more so my strength. I never really, as an adult, I haven't really taken on the role of an artist because being the artist is a lot more than people anticipate.
Right.
It has to be 24/7 your lifeblood, or you're just not going to make it.
Yeah. I know back when we were real active in the music business, it was like 24/7. It was many times, even when my daughter was 15, and she came to me and said, "Daddy, I want to be a rapper." I was like, "Hey," I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and neither did she. but we started going to the studio, and we would be coming out the studio at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Easily.
You know, and then she has to go to school, and in order for her to maintain, I had to let her know, you know, you got to keep your grades up, and this is a lot of dedication.
Mm-hmm.
With the writing, okay, so now what is that your strong point right now, the writing?
Yes, so I am currently the marketing manager for a nonprofit in Fairfax County. So I think what a lot of I won't generalize. At times, people feel like the artistry is the only thing that needs to be, you know, we don't need to worry about anything else. As long as I have my artistry, I'm straight. But just like any other business, you as an artist are a product, and you need somebody to put that product in a beautiful package and market it to the world, so the world wants that product. It's the reason why I may choose Hellman's mayonnaise over Duke's, or I may choose, you know, Pepsi over Coca-Cola. If there's somebody out there that could do the same exact thing as you, it's how do we market you? What's your shtick? What's your angle? And that is, you know, heavy public relations, marketing work. That's the writers of the, I mean, even song lyrics. That's, you know, it's the heartbeat of the song. It's the writers. So I always encourage artists to not only be an artist, but also try to get heavy into production or songwriting, because whereas being the main artist has an expiration date, those others don't ever. I mean, you could be a songwriter at 85 years old and still be getting ridiculous royalty checks.
Yeah.
So I encourage them to take on more than one role.
And I think that's very important for many artists. For the artists that's out there right now, you know, it may be some individuals who possibly want to call in and ask Miss AMBRE some questions. She has some a serious background in the entertainment business. The number is 703-752-6120. So please feel free to call in and ask Miss AMBRE some questions. Right now in this area, just what's your perspective as far as like the music industry? Have it died, or do you think it's still alive? You know, even as far as even with the go-go itself, you know.
What I've from working with artists in New York, working with artists in Atlanta, like you said, working with artists in Miami, things of that nature. I realized that the DMV lacks the support that an artist needs to thrive. Just individuals in the DMV will not support their local artists the way some other areas that I've been to will rally behind and support their local artist. There's a plethora of talent here, like really strong talent here. I've come across, you know, singers, actors, photographers, dancers that are phenomenal in this area. It's just how do we grab the base's attention and get them to support, you know? I worked with an artist. I worked with an artist who is now famous. He's now like fully famous. But back in the day, when we wanted to, you know, grab attention, we had to go to upstate New York, play his records there, and then once we went up to visit upstate New York, I mean, we couldn't walk through the mall without like girls like screaming and throwing their shirts, and you know, I mean, the support was crazy. We would have shows up there and they would be sold out, people waiting around the corner. I don't see that type of support for artists in the DMV, and we should want to see our own elevate to that next level.
That's always been one of my personal desires. As I started many years ago, I've always had that desire to bring us together here in the DMV because of the talent. But many times I made the excuses for many people, and I told them, I said, what was going on was we live in a politician area, and so everybody has that kind of energy, and it's like competitive, and it's so competitive that you don't understand. Don't be competitive with one another. Lift each other up in order to be able to maintain. And so
more than one person can win at
yeah,
a time.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I did something back in 2009 was called the DMV Best of the Best at the Showplace Arena. I am the first and only individual I put over 50 unsigned artists on stage there, which a lot of people said that was a crazy thing to do. But because of the idea that I had at the time, it was trying to open up the door for the music industry to say, hey, look at all the talent we have here. But a lot of the individuals back in that time didn't see, or they did, but it was a sense of, I hate to put it just plain bluntly, greed. Certain people were calling me and saying, look, if you're going to guarantee me $20,000, $10,000, I'll promote you, I'll help get you over the hump. And I'm like, yo, I put up $40,000 of my own money. Why would I do that and you're not giving me a dime? Exactly. What we were supposed to do is come together, because what they didn't realize, if everything came off like I had planned paper-wise, I'd have walked away with $500,000, which I would have taken and put it back in our area. But we just didn't get there. And I don't really want to blame anybody, because I have to accept responsibility of some of the actions that I did at the time, because I was the individual always trying to do everything myself. I just was that type of person, because I didn't have the support. But now, still I have that dream in the pit of my stomach, and that's why I do the People to People podcast. This is a platform open for individuals. When I met you at the networking event, I was just, when you mentioned entertainment, I was like, radar, bing, 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 yes. And I was like, okay, I wanted to talk with you and just kind of hear a little more about what you were doing, kind of see if I can hit a bill, and you're going to be like, okay, I might want to start doing this again or something like that.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think that music, entertainment will always be my passion. It was my passion from I was a little girl. I always wanted to, I said, I used to listen to songs in my room or in the living room, or even playing in the car. My mom, we'd be driving and I'd be listening, and the whole video of what I thought the video treatment should be would run through my head from start to finish. Even if there was already a pre-existing video for the song, I was like, no, this is how it should be. It's always, and then I did district course, I did all county music festival, I did all state, I did NYSMA, which is New York State Music Festival. I mean, it's always just been my passion. So, can I say that I would never do it again? No, I can't say that. I can't say that.
Me again, what I'm hoping for is to rally up to talent. But it's not just when we're talking about rap artists and singers. You mentioned poetry. Poetry is really, really stepping up in a different arena. And I have some plans down the line that I would be very much interested in trying to open some doors and platforms for individuals to be able to get that exposure. Just to see what type of arena that sets. Because the rap industry,
it's oversaturated.
Yeah, and then not only that, it's more dangerous than,
Yeah.
If you get a rapper in this area, he start doing real good,
and you're not sure if how long he's gonna
live. Yeah, and it's sad.
Unfortunately, there are a few rappers that just in my career here worked with, came across, laughed, chopped it up with, had a great time, and a couple weeks later they were gone. So it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I think that really, really worries me, because we do have individuals who have talent, but then you got a lot of envious individuals who do not have a purpose for tomorrow. So when they see somebody escalating into a different level of life, then they start to get jealous. But the other thing that's the problem with that as well, I have family members. I got individuals who are rappers, But you see, one of the things that I try to get a lot of them to understand is this. Talking about robbing and killing and strip clubs and all that, okay, that was then.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we now? You know what I mean? Take it to a different level, and that's what I like about the poetry. The poetry has, rappers are basically poets.
Yes.
But let's now do it with a different tone, with a different agenda.
Yes.
And that's what I would like to see a lot of the rappers do. Get away
Not
from
the
it.
agenda that's pushed upon our community, but the agenda of what we choose to aspire to.
Yes. I like the way you said that. That will change your perspective on how you communicate with different individuals as you see them moving along. I remember a long time ago dating a young lady. She bought a new car, and I never forget. And I was driving the car out of the off the lot, and as soon as I drove off the lot, somehow enough, I don't know if it was my fault or the other person, somebody sideswiped the front of the car. We hadn't even got off the lot.
Oh my goodness.
And so we pulled over, a little scratch. Everybody was like, okay, don't worry about it. And at the time, the young lady was really mad at me. She was like, you did that on purpose. And I know I didn't. I know. But my whole point to say that was, the mentality was like, okay, you don't want to see me get anything. That's not it. And so what we have to do here in this arena here, in order for us to move forward, we have to get to a point where we are not envious of a person who finds success. And if we find it at a very, very rapid pace, more so than the individual who's been putting that work in. And that's the only thing that really scares me right now. But I would be so excited to open the door back up for the artists to be able to get exposure. I am more so again leaning toward poetry.
Okay.
I'm a poet myself. I'm a type of individual. You can give me a word, give me a situation, I put a poem together easily. And I used to go back with the young artists that I work with, and I always tell them, it's almost like this. If I brought you in and you say you're a singer, don't tell me you're a singer, and when I take you and put you in front of A&R,
You don't want to sing.
you don't want to sing.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, so, exactly. I've done a lot of media training as well, and that's definitely something that comes up. It's like, I'm preparing you to be in front of the world, so make sure you're prepared, make sure you're ready.
And I don't know how much it changed, but I was told back when I was in the news business, you had only 30 seconds to get their attention.
I mean, honestly, sometimes less than that. And the questions that they're asking now, I mean, I've sat down in front of at least 4 or 5 major labels, music that we all listen to on the radio all the time. And really the first questions that they ask are, their look is great, what's their social media following? Because labels are not fronting that money to do that artist development anymore.
Right.
They want, even if you're not 100% polished as an artist, if they feel like you can turn the heads of 100,000 people, they'll sew into you. But if you're not polished as an artist, you don't have that development, and you don't have the social media following, you're counting yourself out.
So what do you think are the chances for, in this area, do you think that a new artist would have a chance to be able to get some recognition?
Yes, but I think it definitely depends on how you move. I always say, what I see a lot with different artists is the content with being what I call the most popular person in school syndrome. You are content with being the most popular person in your area, your immediate area, your neighborhood, things like that. You think you've made it. You have to break outside of that box. If I go one state over and I mention your name and they don't know who you are, then what type of drop are you really making in the pond? So, it's great to lock down your neighborhood or your city, but if you want to expand beyond that, there's so many different aspects of your personality you have to take into consideration. You have to open your mind. You may have a specific style of things. I can't tell you how many artists that I've come across and I'm trying to sew into them, and they're like, well, I don't want to dance. I don't dance, and this is my genre, and I don't move outside of that, and this is what I wear, and I'm not wearing that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing. What if I walked into a new company, I just got the job, and I was like, I'm not filing papers, I'm not taking calls, I'm not, who really wants to work with that person or further their career? You have to keep an open mind. You have to listen to the people that are seasoned around you. Keep seasoned people around you, because another thing I see is, oh, he's my manager. Well, has he made it? Or is he waiting for you to make it? How can he manage you if he hasn't made it to a level of his career that has recognition as a manager?
Yeah.
How could he manage you? How does he know what to do?
Yeah.
So it's about taking the right steps, aligning yourself with an honest, solid team that cares about you, concentrating on your diet, being flexible with wardrobe and media training and things of that nature, willing to learn a new skill, play the piano, willing to dance, willing to, all of these, even, it's so funny, these rappers, yes, they have a painted persona that's well crafted by their team as the package that they're putting out to the world. But if you don't think that little boy was tap dancing somewhere when he was 3, or if you don't think that girl learned how to play the piano and twirl the baton when she was 12, then you're out of your mind. Nobody has one skill. Nobody that makes it has one skill, and is not willing to break outside of whatever box you box yourself in. You box yourself in.
If you right now, what would be, so give me 3 steps that you would say for a promoter, okay? For a promoter that you think would be the direction to go right now to start to get control of this area.
Well, I am a firm believer that, again, I said that, the rap game could be oversaturated. I think that we're all, after the pandemic, after everything, we're all searching for something fresh and new, like a different concept. Kind of breaking out of that cool box and just kind of delving into what feels good, like what puts a positive vibe in the air. Things are a little different. Maybe he's doing stippling painting while he's reciting poetic verse. Maybe she's dancing, or maybe she it's just trying to meld those different talents together. And if you're having an event, then hire the local photographer, because they have a passion for the people. And they're going to give you a different perspective than a professional photographer that doesn't know these people would give. Talk to the local businesses about catering and things like that. Try to build the family, and hopefully from there the family will grow. It's really about the attitude of the people, though. I will tell you, I'm always willing to give advice and work with an artist and, sew into them the way that I've sewn into other people that have been successful. But I'm not gonna constantly fight with you. I'm not gonna fight for it more than you would. It's not supposed to be my career. It's yours. So if I'm giving you the seeds and I'm giving you the wisdom and you choosing not to take it, what else can I do for you?
Yeah.
So
it's
you get the passionate people, the people that are willing to go the extra mile, the people that are willing to listen, and you work with them.
It is it's just ironic that I don't even, sometimes I don't want to sound like I'm whining or nothing like that, but here in this area, the struggle to succeed in any area, it's hard because we got it, with the pandemic. The pandemic kind of ate up this little bit of support that we had where we was really networking. It ate it up.
Yep.
Because at one time we would see each other and hug each other. Girl, hey, hug up. What's going on? What you doing? I'm doing boom, boom, boom. And everybody be like, look, meet at this place this time. We're gonna do this. After the pandemic, everybody's now come up. They touch with their elbow.
Yeah.
They looking at you and they're like, okay, so what you doing? But right now, I'm not doing anything. I'm just concentrating on me. And we got to that, and it's really rough right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to ease back into it. There's so many different things going on. There's, we're coming off the tail end of the pandemic. We're coming off of losing upwards of 250,000 people, Americans, from it.
Yeah.
People are dealing with the grief. They're dealing with the loss of their jobs, and then just getting back on their footing. And then now we have inflation, and so it was a time when we had to think very singularly. So trying to pull people back together as a family is a little difficult. It's a little difficult.
I think that's something that we really need to focus on, trying to get us where we can actually come together as a family and say, hey, you can do it, and I'll be there to help you. That was how I was back in the day. I would talk to individuals and I would say, we're going to do a show, but I would talk to them and find out what direction did they want to go, and then set that tone. Now it's like, it's just so hard to even get my hands into the school system. It's hard to get into the areas because of one, the mentality is just, it's awkward. We got kids now, and as you know, back in the music business, back some time ago, and not when I say some time ago, it wasn't that long ago, but I'm talking, everybody was probably smoking some marijuana or whatever, right? Now you got this fentanyl and all this craziness and stuff, and then you got everybody want to carry a gun and all these things, and it just makes it, just the relationships are hard to really, to go to a different level. Yeah. So with all that said though, okay, so what you're doing, your marketing and stuff like that, how is it hard for somebody to build a relationship with you to say, hey, I need your help?
Well, see, now it's a different kind of marketing. So are you talking about the marketing work that I do now or the marketing work that I did?
Well,
because now I'm in a completely different
arena.
I'm in a different arena, a different lane. I'm more so mingling with different corporate partners and things like that. And those people are never ashamed to say what they need or, mean what they say. So it's become a lot easier in that aspect. We all just kind of put our cards on the table, and it's like, this is what I'm trying to achieve, this is what you're trying to achieve, let's come together and work. Which is a clear indication that the successful people put all that other stuff to the side to get the business done.
Yeah.
But yeah, back in the day it was a little bit difficult. Nobody wanted to admit that they needed something or that they were struggling, not, on the level that they wanted to be. Everybody was kind of putting on this like persona, like I've made it already.
Yeah.
Even though if you made it, then we'd be having this conversation, in Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So yeah. That, yeah.
With me, I mean, again, with everything that's going on in this area, but I see yourself, me, I just look at, it's kind of like draining, but because of who I am, I'm an artist. I am, one way or the other. Whether I'm supporting an artist, being an artist, interviewing an artist, I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that, this is a talent, that God gave me. And when I see other people with it, I want to see it move in a direction. That's why I like when I was doing promotion, and I really I met you, and I was just curious, because I was hoping that you was gonna be like, yeah, I'm getting ready to stir it up back here, being the DMV, because I want to see that come. I want to see that come alive. I want to see the life to that come back, where the artists start to feel like they can really, really have an opportunity to be a neighborhood celebrity. Because we done lost that.
Yes.
At one time, we were saying, well, just don't be a neighborhood celebrity. You want to go worldwide. But now it's like, yo, how about let's try to just get the neighborhood celebrity aspect of it done and move from there.
But like you said, everything is, everything is kind of like a catch-22, because it's like, yes, you get to the point where you become a neighborhood celebrity, and then somebody is jealous of you, and they live up the street from you, and they decide to take it out on you.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, but I think that in this climate, it is more important for you to work on the fundamentals of your career and try to push your music in different arenas as well as in this arena or whatever, but to not be too much of a flashy in your neighborhood type of person.
Yeah.
Because the people in your neighborhood are not going to be feeling that.
Yeah.
So
envy.
Yeah, the envy. So I think, and that ends up being a lot of people's demise, not wanting to let go of certain older things that didn't necessarily serve them, and still be in areas where, you might encounter danger, or you might be around people that don't really care about you, or, things of that nature, and then you end up becoming, unfortunately, a statistic. I think that it's more important to put in the groundwork and perform different places and be flexible, be moldable, be humble for a little while you're making those moves in silence. Because a lot of people don't realize, everyone thinks, oh, I become an artist and it's time for me to wear all my jewelry out and this. Listen, Chris Brown was eating McDoubles, sleeping on the floor in a basement with some other artists that were hungry, wearing the same shirt, days and days at a time, but in the studio, writing music, paying attention to his dance moves, like really polishing himself. So when it was time to be presented to the world, he made a huge splash. I think people can be a little too focused on the smaller splashes rather than, it's like, focus on how to get yourself to that next level. And that next level is not necessarily just in your neighborhood. Yes, your neighborhood should know you. Yes, I think so. But people get too satiated, too comfortable, and they start being real flashy in their neighborhood and then saying this and saying that, and it gets them hurt.
Lady Z, you said you got a question for me?
Yes. What's up, Miss Greeneyez? I don't know if you remember me. I was in the group called G Riders, but you introduced me to Chastity Corsett while you were managing a male singer at the time. Mm-hmm. Glad to see you're still in the industry.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're tuning in.
Demetrius.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I was introduced to G Riders at one of my favorite studios in the area, Mid-East. They're my brothers over there. Shout out to Rome and Tony and Phrase, and they held it down for a long time in the DMV, and they're every famous artist and every independent artist that has come to the DMV has stopped by Mid-East to show love.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Actually, Mid-East used to be like one of the main spots to move in the underground.
Yes.
So back in the day, I'm trying to think of the general name. I think he actually passed away. He worked with Greeneyez. I'm trying to think of this gentleman's name. it'll come to me.
So there've been different key players in and out. The core three have always been Jerome. He goes by Rome, or Tony Lear, who also does amazing photography, and Phrase, who
Right.
yeah, Phrase.
But I'm trying to think of this guy named. He was a dark-skinned, heavy brother. I remember. It's gonna come to me. But do you remember a gentleman? I'm just gonna throw his name out. He was called All Day in the Paint.
Yeah, Dre all day in the paint. Yeah, I know Dre. Yeah.
So back then, these guys was out there doing some things.
So then, if you're talking about Dre in the paint, is it Tony Reds? Are you talking about that passed away?
No, it was.
Rest in peace, Tony Reds. He was another fabulous brother.
But so do you remember artists like Go-Go Michelle?
I never met Gogo Michelle, but I've heard of Gogo Michelle for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
Go-Go Michelle. She was one of the individuals that was in the DMV back when I was in the music business. She was real popular around in the DMV area. It was quite a few individuals. My mind is going blank right now, but I was just excited back then because I just knew that we was going to go far. It was just so many artists out there that were really, really trying to make a difference. We got another.
Demetrius says, is he talking about Born 360? Is that Bam 360?
Nah. I don't know why. His name gonna come to me, but it was just so many people, man, back in the day, and we had it going on for a minute. It was really exciting because everybody was out doing something. They were doing events at the clubs, and then we don't have the clubs like we used to.
No.
We don't.
No, we don't.
Yeah, where
We
you
really
can go in
don't.
there and
You know what's a fabulous venue that I would like to see utilized more? Love this venue. Blind Wino.
Where's that at?
It is in Southwest on 8th Street, I believe. And it used to be a church, but now it's an abandoned church, but they turn it into an art museum / venue. So when I tell you, when you walk in Blind Wino, the floors are decorated and painted. The ceilings, the walls, there's artistry everywhere. The original stained glass windows are in there, but now they have this electric neon paint that glows under black lights, and then when it shines through the stained glass at that, dusk hour, like it's a beautiful, fabulous venue.
So actually, do artists go there to perform?
So I have an artist that I worked with under my last regime. His name is Harmony. He's now in New York, doing well for himself, working with Red Cafe and some other people. He had partnered with Hennessy, and we had an event there for him. That was fabulous, but that's not the only event that I've been to. I've been to a couple there, so I know that it's possible.
I would like to probably check that place out. You say it's on 8th Street?
I'll get the exact address for you, but I know it's called Blind Wino, and it's in Southwest.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm looking to do in the future, as I continue to move forward, there's many artists out there, poets, rappers, singers. I want to bring it back to the old school, but something that you said, Amber, that was really, really powerful, and that said, bring something new, bring something a little fresh, and that's what I got some ideas. It's just that I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I'm like in a rowboat and I'm rowing by myself. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm doing it wrong or what the case may be, but I still had the passion to say, hey, we have the talent here, and you don't have to go to New York, you don't have to go to Miami, you don't have to go to Atlanta, you can go right here and find it. And I really want to give that opportunity back to some of the individuals here in the DMV to say, hey, we can do this. And it's just getting the right team together. This,
100%. That's what I would say. I mean, you're only as strong as your team. Fortunately, I when I was working in entertainment, I was with a very small team as well. I was with a small team, and though we had our ups and downs and things, there were a lot of good people that were, passionate about the work and were riding with us. And when people tell you who they are, believe them. So, the people that come around and they're just there for the glass of champagne and, to be backstage, they tell you who they are. And then the people that are there grinding with you and, have good ideas, have smart ideas, are able to network and push, then those are the people that you hold fast to.
Yeah. He's a good friend of mine, but a couple of them. Malik Blandon from Baltimore, Frank Johnson, he was with Atlanta Records.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, he has a book called Ambitious, which is a very, very good book to read. It's talking about the music industry and how it was then. One of my good friends, Rev Gotti, who's now in Portsmouth, Virginia, who was up here doing the music. It was just so many people. Back then, it was just a powerhouse. We could go from D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, and go to different locations where they was doing battles,
Mm-hmm.
rap battles and stuff like that. They just don't do that anymore.
I know.
And it's really, really sad. It's really sad. But because now looking at the different directions things are going, we got to be a little more subtle. We got to be a little more hands-on with individuals to say, hey, it's not necessary for you to come in here with the profanity and the loudness and all that. We can come in here and be very polite with one another and still entertain each other. And that's what I would like to see. That's why I'm probably looking a little more to the poetry aspect of things. Shout out to Steph Marie, this young lady. She does a lot of poetry in this area. We actually was doing a platform here to be able to interview poets and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's not still something that we want to do. It's just I had got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I got overwhelmed, and I'm hoping that still down the line that'll be something to do. So, what is it that you like right now, Amber? What do Amber really wants to do? If you could stop everything,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do? What would be your direction to go?
I'd be writing poetry in my lake house, like overlooking the mountains, like peace. Honestly, so full discretion, in 2019, a couple years after I left entertainment for a while, I lost my mother unexpectedly. It changed me a lot. It put a lot of different things into perspective. Changed my thought process completely. So, and I took a hiatus to really get to know myself, and just like many people did during the pandemic. And I came out on the other side, on kind of a corporate side. Working with a nonprofit now means a great deal to me because we cater to adults over 55, and we have transportation services. We throw events. We have adult education classes. We have all different types of things, and it meant a lot. It means a lot to me because my mother was in nonprofit work, and a lot of the people that we cater to have some of the, you know, the needs and maybe sometimes some of the ailments or things that she had. So I feel like this is my way to use my writing to give back to a woman that I couldn't possibly begin to talk about what she's done for me. I mean, my mother was like an amazing like mommy. Like she made me her world. So trying to get my footing again without her has been a journey. Definitely. I think if I was to get back into entertainment, I could see myself doing the marketing and the PR just because it's something that comes so natural to me now. And it's not quite as stressful as being, you know, the manager or being the A&R, you know. So I would probably still just take on a writing capacity and try to help them with their marketing and their media and things like that.
You have something for me over there?
Yes, 2 questions from Skitter Scat. He says, I had a conversation with Fat Trail's group member, P. Wow, and he told me the reason Trail broke in the industry is because he was speaking about what is actually going on for a street life and why Well had to take the go-go route and also leave to break through. How do you feel about that?
I mean, you know, it's a part of you. I don't think that you should ever leave that behind. But talk about it how it is. I think at times we glorify that when the whole purpose of us chasing this dream is to get away from the street life. Like, you don't want to have to sell drugs. You don't want to have to, you know, resort to violence, because that's not an ideal situation. It's something that we've had to deal with because of circumstances, but I think it's always, I don't think that you should silence your story, ever. I think your story it makes you who you are. But be honest about your story. It's not fun to be financially insecure and have to do things that are not your talent to make the bread. So talk about that, but also talk about what you want, what makes your heart sing, your passions. Why are you doing this?
Yes.
Who has been influential in your life to, you know, push you along? I think that we're able to tell both sides of the story there. So.
Okay.
I'm glad that you said it. What's the other question?
Do you feel the DMV is more of a street background, which is why most artists who are not strictly street music have to go to other cities? Or should I say, do you feel the average young DMV listener caters to more of street music, if I ask that right?
I think the question is so I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay. This is from Skitter Scat as well.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel the DMV is more of a street background, which is why most artists who are not strictly street music have to go to other cities? Or should I say, do you feel the average young DMV listener caters to more of street music?
Yeah, I think that again, it depends on, you know, where you are. If we're talking about, like, you know, the heart of the city, then yeah, I think that I don't know, you know, street. I think that and I hate to use the term urban, because urban just means, I hate to use that term either. I guess if we're going to talk about street, then I guess we would say, like, you know, gangster. Yes, I think that that's, you know, really palatable in the city. I think that people are really into that. But we don't give those, everybody's just trying to be so cool, so tough. Whereas being an artist is being different and not being cool all the time. Just like being yourself and delving into new things, different things. breaking outside of your box. So I feel like sometimes, you know, when you do that in the city, people are like, oh, you're weird, or, you know, we don't mess with that mess or whatever. And it's like, you're hindering yourself. And yeah, a lot of artists do have to go to a different city to lock it down if they have. But in the city that houses Duke Ellington and Howard University School of Fine Arts and things of that nature, I would like to see us be able to be different and be weird and embrace that here, rather than having to go to another city to lock it down.
I like that. And okay, so in this I was just listening with the question from Skitterscat. So one of the things that really bothered me is this: we have a lot of individuals who don't even understand what a real gangster is.
Facts.
See, we got people out here, a thug.
Because a real gangster's not talking about it.
Right.
Ever.
No, a real gangster is out handling his business.
Yeah.
And
quietly.
And it's not all about out here hooping and hollering and trying to sling a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then back in the day, gangsters, really, they were businessmen.
Yes.
A lot of them.
Yes.
They were businessmen. We're not saying that they didn't commit crimes, but they had their different arena of business.
Similar to, they say, you know, a rich man does not wear his riches on his body. Right. You know, most really wealthy billionaires have on like a Bass Pro Shop t-shirt and some run over old Asics.
And you don't even know.
And you don't even know.
Yeah.
You're so busy worrying about what it looks like rather than worrying about what it is.
A lot of us make that mistake, running around, as we would call some people, dressed up trash cans. You know, walking around. You know, I do like to look nice, but I try to keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Looking nice is different than, you know, walking into your local Walmart with, you know, $50,000 worth of jewelry.
Right.
You know, we're getting into a Corolla.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like. So.
But I could say that I do want to say this, especially to Skitterscat. He's a dedicated artist.
Yes,
and he's been in the business for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, and I love his passion. I love his drive. I love the fact that he's still pounding away. What I feel so bad about is that many of us haven't put ourselves in a position to be able to help him move forward and give him and many other artists the platform to say, hey, these guys putting in the work. We should make sure to, you know, really make sure that they have an opportunity.
100%. Because there are passionate people out there that deserve it. Unfortunately, just like everything else, there are people that have soured the taste in certain people, you know, some managers and things' mouths from how they've moved or how they've acted throughout the years, and it makes you feel like, well, you know, I can't do anything for anybody else. When in actuality, there are really deserving people that are waiting for somebody like you to come and sow into their careers.
Yeah.
So it's just about matching those two mindsets.
Okay. We getting close to the closing hour. When the closing of the show, but I want to stress some things. This is for artists that are out there. Don't lose hope. Keep striving. There's an opportunity right around the corner somewhere. But one of the things that you got to realize this: when you have a promoter to put on an event, you can't come in there and think that you can't put the work in. You remember you said Chris and them, when they were Chris Brown and them, they was living it, eating it, sleeping it. Well, when you get an opportunity to perform, you got to live it, eat it, sleep it. You got to get out here and promote it, market it.
Take it serious. Let me I have to tell you another anecdote just real quick.
Go ahead.
I went with an artist down to North Carolina. We got them an opportunity to perform with Ty Dolla $ign. Rather than looking at that situation like, okay, how do I polish myself? How do I align myself? How am I going to approach this man? How are we going to do business in the future? He now thought that he had made it, and he's, he brought a girl with him down there, and we take the ride down, and by the time we got there, he said he was too tired to perform. So he did not. Refused. And the girl is on the bus with him like, oh, you already made it, you don't need this. And that was an opportunity that he missed, trying to be cool for the wrong people.
Yeah. Well, we got to, man, definitely put ourselves in position where we can still do this. It was definitely an honor to have you here with me.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
And you know something, we're gonna have to do this again. But what I would like to do is I want to try to, hey, Scat, if you still there, I would like to bring Miss Amber back in and have you come in and sit down with us and talk about some things about what we're talking about, the music business and some of the things that's going on. I'm gonna try to make that happen. And maybe we can get about 4 or 5 individuals in, so we can have a real serious powwow about what's going on.
I love that.
And I can say this too. Just talking to you has triggered my mind to want to do some things, to open the industry up where we can have some opportunity for some people to get some exposure. There's some artists that I know here in the DMV area that's looking for an opportunity to be able to share their skills. And so I, being who I am, aka Pops, aka Sir Rod, the promoter of Photo Timing Productions Showcase, the Celebration of Praise. We have shout out to Darlene Smith, who's a promoter who's went into hiatus for a minute, doing some things, and a few other individuals. I'm just saying that we still have a little bit of life in us, and it's just a matter of just getting together. What I would like for you to do, Amber, is you can take 2 or 3 minutes real quick and just send a message to the audience for anybody who's trying to get into, and also let them know how to get in touch with you if you are available for services of any kind. So how would they be able to get in touch with you?
So if you are looking for somebody to help polish you up a bit in terms of your media marketing materials, things of that nature, you can email me at mzgreeneyezlive@gmail.com. So that's mzgreeneyezlive@gmail.com. I would say do not get discouraged. I know that that's more easily said than done, but I have seen with my own eyes on well more than 10 occasions that someone stayed dedicated and they went through the highs and the lows, and they ended up higher than any of us could imagine. So continue to believe in yourself. Don't try to be cool for everybody else. You do what makes your heart sing, because that talent was put in you by a higher being that had a path for you. So it doesn't matter what everybody else is talking about. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Don't try to fit into a mold. Do your own thing and see what you come up with. It's either meant to be or it's not.
I love it. I love it. I tell you, if everybody just tuned in, thank you for tuning in. I thank Miss Amber for you coming in. Miss Greeneyez, she's still here. She's still doing her thing. So
I'm still out here.
Hey, y'all just stand by, because I'm going to be talking to her about some things to see if we can get some kind of soup stirred up or something. But thank you so much for coming out, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hang in there, Skitterscat.